Hello, Noel. Like Salvation Army bandsmen the world over, I have been privileged to play and listen to your music. Fortunately for the Salvation Army, all your music is both playable and listenable, and ideal for use by our bands. You seem to have the happy knack of knowing just how to create something suitable for use by most, if not all, our bands. As a bandmaster, I was indebted to you for making life easier when striving to identify something to suit a particular occasion. Many years ago, we worked in the same bank and building, and it was not unusual for me to pop in to see you and find you had, hidden under your desk pad, a piece of manuscript with some pencil scribble related to your latest attempt at composition. As staff bandmaster, I was fortunate to be in a position to try out your latest efforts and to eventually prepare and record them for presentation to the Territorial Music Board. These days, of course, it is just a matter of you forwarding your music to London, and it is usually almost automatic that it be accepted and eventually published. For 12 or 13 years, I was privileged to have you as a valuable member of the Melbourne staff band, both as pianist and member of the solo cornet section. Over the years, I appreciated your willingness to oblige whenever I needed something specific to be written. And of course, it was a real pleasure for me to include your music on the various LPs and CDs the staff band produced during my time. In retirement, I trust you continue producing your music, and I'm sure London will continue to look forward to receiving it, knowing full well it would be suitable for publication and use. I was fortunate in being a happy member of the Melbourne Veterans Band under your leadership. You will be sorely missed, but fortunately, it will allow you more time for writing. Congratulations, Noel, on a great innings thus far. May you continue your good work and your output of Salvation Army music.
Hello, Noel. This is Stephen Cobb here from England, and it's a great privilege for me to add my good wishes to the many I'm sure you're going to receive on this occasion. I'm recording this video footage from the home of Ray Steadman Allen, and we're joining together to just have a few words talking about you. I'm sure that's embarrassing, but it needs to be said. Ray, your first association with Noel was back in the late 1970s, is that correct?
Yes, it was early, yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I can remember now just hearing from him that first march of his. I think He Lives.
Yes, I remember
we
it
thought,
well.
Hello, a new writer, how lovely, from the sunny
And
Australia.
during those ensuing 30, 40 years, he's been a great contributor to our journals, hasn't he?
He has, and that's a very valuable thing.
Yeah, and we've appreciated that with core sections in this territory, and I know around the world there has been an immediacy to his music that has spoken to the hearts and minds of literally thousands and thousands of people, hasn't there?
Yes, that must be a great thing for Noel himself as well too.
Yeah.
And
we would honour that contribution this evening. But from a personal perspective, I think my great admiration for Noel is his humility and the fact that he's one of our movement's great encouragers, isn't he?
I'm told so, yes.
Yeah.
I felt that.
Yeah. A great encourager.
It's a great thing in our movement, encouragement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we would want to acknowledge his great contribution to Salvation Army Music Ministry right around the world, and his influence that he's had on so many people, not just through his music, but from his spiritual dimension and his encouraging words that he's always had for so many of us.
Yes, and we're very glad to have that opportunity now to wish him well.
Yes. And so we wish you a great evening, Noel.
We do. Yes,
Thank you for all that you've done, for all that you will continue to do, and bless you.
Yeah, bless you, Noel. Thank you.
As far as I recall, I first met Noel Jones at a youth camp that was held at Parkdale way back in perhaps 1956. And there is a picture to prove it that indicates we were both in a a race that the boys were doing out of Parkdale down to the beach, and Noel and I getting ready to run this race. As I look back and think about Noel's life and my own, I'm quite amazed at how many things we both really did together in a way, and the links that we had. At that time, way back in the late 1950s, we were both working for the National Bank, as in fact a good part of the Salvation Army seemed to be doing at that time. We were also playing in the Spotlight Band, which was quite an exciting band led by the great Don McCoy in those days. Noel was, I think, a songster leader before he was 20 or 21. I was the bandmaster at Camberwell while he was the songster leader, I think, at Brighton. We both also served as YP bandmasters and songster leaders at different times and in different places. In the early 1980s, my wife Muriel and I were very pleased to be the corps officers at the Ringwood Corps, and Noel had a YP band that was second to none. So many things seemed to link our lives together. We also shared in musical things. Noel was in the Melbourne Staff Band, and at one point I was in the International Staff Band. Noel was working full-time as the Secretary for Bands and Songsters, and I had not quite that privilege, but was working in music in London during the 1970s. So when it came to my retirement back in 2005, it seemed almost the natural thing that this common expression of salvationism that we share, that I should go into the Veterans Band. And I was very pleased to play under Noel and share fellowship with him again in the Veterans Band. When I think about Noel's contribution to Salvation Army music, it's really hard to recognise how widespread this is and how well known and well appreciated Noel is around the world. His lovely arrangements of beautiful Salvation Army songs and choruses. I think of his marches, and I really question whether he's probably written more marches than any other Salvation Army composer. It seems that half the corps in Australia have got a Noel Jones march especially written for them. And when we think about Bramwell Coles and Arthur Gullidge, I really think that Noel must have written even more marches than some of those great people. Noel has been supported through the years by Mary, and I am very pleased to salute Noel for all that he's done and to count him as a very good friend and to pray that God will bless him and Mary in the years to come.